Good morning, YouTube. Before I give y'all the exciting news, I want to give y'all a rundown how I got to this point and how I decided to get to this point. So, back in 2018, I was diagnosed with depression, anxiety, and I was holding so much stuff in, negative stuff my family was always saying about me. I was holding so much stuff in my kids' father said about me. So on top of that, pressure build up. Pressure just build up. So last year I decided to move. When I moved last year, I moved into one of my cousin's house, like a brother to me. And when I moved into that house, not to know that he had to go away for a minute, which is to jail. So he sold the house to another female, well, to a lady. She was a white lady, no prejudice here. And I had told my kids because I didn't like how she was moving. I'm like, she moving this way, but it's something about her. Now, remind y'all, I don't know if y'all ever went through this renting houses that y'all had to get your landlord a key to your house and it was all right for her to walk in. I remind y'all, I never did this. It's my first time doing this because I always lived in my grandma's house. So she came in with an inspection guy. This inspection guy, I live in Detroit, Michigan. She come in with an inspection guy. He come in around about, I want to say, 10:45. I have videos on my phone, so I be pinning them up and letting y'all know, letting y'all see for yourself. So I'm gonna have to look. I think I still have them, but I probably do. So anyway, the inspection guy come over. He come over and he wasn't dressed, but it's 10 Sunday night. A white lady walking in your house at 10 Sunday night while you in the bed, comfortable, your kids in the bed. So I looked, I'm like, okay, it's time. I got to find me a place. Now, remind y'all, my son, he get him a little check. I have got, I'm keeping real. I get me a check from my dad. So rent in Detroit is sky high. When I'm talking about sky high, I'm talking about $1,000, 900, 850, 950. Ranges like that. All they low income places is crowded for. So I'm like, okay, come October, she bought the house. Come December, we had Christmas in the house. She come in the house and she tell me, your Christmas tree shouldn't be up. Now remind her, Christmas was the 25th. And I'm like, oh no, this is the next day. So what is she talking about? So I'm like, is this some kind of prejudice stuff she got going on with me? So I'm like, all right. I didn't ever take it out. So she come with a list, a little pad and all this and that, like what she don't want to see. She don't want to see no decorations outside her property. Now I'm like, wow. So I'm tell my kids like, all right, it was time. We had to go. Now, come this year, I want to say March. I'm all over the place. In March, I got evicted. Why I get evicted? I was when you right. It was some kind of prejudice stuff going on. I think her and the bailiffs they had something going on inside job, but either there and there. So I come back to my grandma's house again. When I come back to my grandma's house, When I was at my own house, I was so peaceful. My anxiety was gone. My depression was gone. I didn't have to take no more medication and nothing. I was in a headspace like, damn, I had a smile on my kids' face. I didn't lie to my kids. I didn't never put them down again. So, come back here, my anxiety come back, my depression come back, and I'm like, why is it coming back? So I prayed on it. I pray. I stay prayed up. I fell back into a space. Now, don't get me wrong. I love my family. I love them to death. I do anything they want me to do. But I fell back into a place to leave in a house without hearing people talk about you. Going back to a house of people talking about you, negative stuff about you. Like I said, it wasn't even no outsider. It was family. I have a friend. She live across the town. She live in Warren, Michigan. That girl did so much. She never talked negative. We probably bump heads here and there, but she was talking some real shit. I talked to one of my closest cousins. She talked real shit, but when it comes and you leaving a place and your kids happy and you smiling, it got to a breaking point when I'm laying up in the bed. My son, he had to sleep on the couch. Me and my two daughters, we sleep together. That shit hurt. It hurt like hell. Like I done took my kids, I done down my kids, failed my kids. I didn't ever want to do that. Even though I know rent down here is high as hell. Two checks, one on the third, my son get one on the first. I said, nah, one gonna pay the rent, one gonna pay the bills. They gonna need money in their pocket. My daughter, she going back to school. She filled out for her some job applications. She's 16. I say, so I'm gonna have I had to have a little money for my babies to keep in their pockets. So it was to the point that I had a cousin tell me, "Oh, you stupid, you retarded. You're not going to work. They not going to hire you. The only person going to hire you." Now, I remind you, I have a cousin. Her name's Shalana. She work at the Goodwill Injury. Anybody know that who live in the city of Detroit? So she like, the only person going to hire you is Goodwill Injury. You will never work. You will never work. You retarded. You stupid. You that I filled out for Kroger's. Kroger's. I had an interview. I didn't want to go to Kroger's because it was too far out. So they wanted to send me to Farmington Hill. I live right here by the one in Michigan, Dearborn. So I'm like, okay, that. So I talked to my oldest cousin, which is her name, Marquita, and she like, don't never let a person tell you that. Now for years, I always thought that I couldn't work and I couldn't do shit because I was in this place. And there's a little place right here when people telling me what I couldn't do, when people telling me that I wouldn't be shit from a baby daddy into my family. And I'm not saying our family because it was family. And the place in the mindset that I am now, I say, when I prayed on this, when you pray for something and you ask God, He will deliver it, but He want to see you do a step too. I went from having my kids in their own room and back to them in the bed, me and my two daughters sleeping together, back to my son on the couch, back to people talking about me and my kids and this my family. My baby daddy, he used to always down me too. But at the end of the day, my God said different. So I made up a mind and I say, God, I'm gonna put it all in your hand and I'm gonna let you lead the way. And I said it hurt. It hurt like hell, but it's something I got to do for me and my 3 kids. So I'm like, my daughter, she's up to the age. She want her room again. My son, he want his room. He 19. And my other daughter, she's 11. So I talked to my mama and I say, Mama, I'm going to call Social Security. So when I call Social Security, anybody on Social Security, and y'all receive survival checks and work, and let me know how y'all do it. And I say, I would never in my life, it's like I failed my kids. It's like I put them fucking down. So, excuse me. So I'm like, okay, so I went to my cousin and I asked her, like, is your job hiring? She like, yeah. She work at Cass Tech. So she tell me, like, go over there and put your application in and put Cass Tech down. So I'm like, okay. So I did all that, filled out the application, which that helped with my mom. And, it's not a lot. I don't know a lot, but I know a little bit. So my mom helped me with it. So I went, took my fingerprint, took my background check and all that. I was feeling so good about myself because now I'm like, my kids, that was on my mind. Like, I would never want them to go through this again. I would never want them to fail again. I would never want them to hurt again. I want to get them something better. I want them to have their own room. I want them to say that our mama did this. Our mama tried. You know, it hurts so bad. Like, clearly hurt when your family tell you you're retarded, you stupid, you will never get a job, won't nobody hire you, and all because I was receiving the checks from my dad. And going for people talking about your kids in group chat. It wasn't even people in my family talking about my kids in the group chats. Having my daughter come and saying, they talking about you in a group chat. They talking about Darius, which is my son. Now, he like wearing Crocs. Like I said, he have a little mental problem. And he like wearing Croc shoes, And that's any parent is going to take up for their child. Any parent is not going to let nobody try to hurt their child and say nothing, because I will never in my life talk about nobody kid. Now, I will talk about the parent, but the internet, should I give a person a feedback? So I'm like, no, I will never do that. So I take the bitter with the sweet. I say, man, pray again. I say, God, your will. I kept going to that job thing. Every time them people was telling me what to do for that job, I was doing it. I said I would never want to put them in the space again like this again. I would never want them to go through this again. My kids never had their own room until when I just told y'all about. My kids were so happy. My kids had a smile on their face. They was just so glad. They was just so precious. They good kids, you know what I'm saying? But for a person to just keep constantly talking about you, which is your family, it just hurt you. It hurt you so much. So as I'm saying is, always pick God first, have trust, walk by faith, and believe in Him. Whatever you ask Him for, He probably won't do it right then and there, but it will happen. All that negative stuff my family said about me, about the job, me getting evicted, my uncle telling me that me and my kids need our own. He's sleeping on a couch and he doing this, and we in the bed together, me and my daughter. So when I pray and I pray hard and I ask God and God delivered, and as I'm saying, all y'all have to do is keep y'all faith and believe in Him. He will deliver to y'all. It hurts so bad, but now I can really say I'm officially had a job. And I want to thank everybody. I want to thank everybody. I'm going to take the job, I'm at work, and I'm gonna make sure my kids have a better place. And I want to say thank Jesus, because without him, this wouldn't happen. From all the negative things the devils was bringing in, it happened. So keep in mind, pick God first. I want to give y'all more good contents and let y'all know it's a lot of people going through a lot of things out here. But I was hurt, and I was one of the ones who was getting talked about. I didn't know what should I bring to YouTube, but I'm here to tell you now, this is official. And I did this for my three kids, Darius, Deja, and Destiny. Y'all have a blessed day. I'm on my way to work, and I'm going to let y'all know when I get in there how it was. And by the way, I'm working at Burton International School by cleaning up. And y'all stay tuned. I'm gonna give y'all more of me and more of my kids, and I'm gonna go house looking, but one day at one thing at a time. And like I said, I did this for my babies and me. And on the grace of God, thank you. And y'all have a blessed day and be safe.